At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, happy Tuesday morning. It is 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, May 21st. Hoping you're having a good start to your day. Hope you've got your good cup of coffee or whatever it is you drink in the morning. You know, contrary to popular belief, I think, there are a lot of people who don't drink coffee these days in the morning. There's tea, there's water. What do you drink? If there's something unusual, or should I say not normal, that people drink in the morning, let me know. I'd love to hear what some of you are drinking in the morning other than coffee. But of course, coffee is that traditional thing that people drink in the morning. Let's get you out the door this morning. Take a look at what it looks like out there today. We're looking at 66 degrees in Redding, 65 right now in Red Bluff. A bit cooler out in Chico at about 55 degrees. And there you can see right at that freezing point in Boerne. So some spots in the mountains still seeing some of those pretty cold early morning lows. There you can see about 34 degrees for Alturas, 36 in Weaverville, and looks like in the 40s out along the coast right now. All right, getting you out the door this morning as you're getting the kids off to school or heading out to work. Should be in the mid-60s for the valley with sunny skies. And in Trinity County, look at the mountains and the coast. You're basically going to be in the upper 40s pretty much anywhere you go. And by the way, still a bit on the breezy side even this morning for parts of the valley, but shouldn't really have too much of an impact on your morning commute. Take a look at the wind gusts out there again this morning, around 9 miles per hour at the Redding Airport, although there are some areas that the winds are a little bit stronger out there. You can see especially out towards Willows at about 20 miles per hour and fairly calm winds this morning in the mountains. Now, as we go through the day today, the winds, they're not going to be as strong as they were yesterday, but it's still going to be on the breezy side throughout the day today with those north winds. We take you into tomorrow, and there you can see those forecast wind gusts are going to be upwards of, not tomorrow, today. Still in the 20-mile-an-hour range. They will be stronger, though, as we go into tomorrow. In fact, you can see even tonight, the winds may begin to pick up a little bit stronger. So what does that mean for our fire weather risk? Well, keep in mind, what we're looking at here is taking a look at several weather elements. Number one, the winds, which we just looked at. Number two, the relative humidity. And number three, the temperatures. When you have high temperatures, upper 90s, triple digits, low humidity, down into, say, below 10% or even 10% and lower, and when you've got gusty north winds, when you have all three of those elements kind of working with each other, it gives us very high fire danger. But when you take a look at all of those elements, we can get a general idea of what our fire weather risk is. Now, when we look at this doesn't mean you can breathe a sigh of relief. It'd be nice if it was just all green. Now, it's mainly green in the mountains, but look at the kind of the light shades of yellow there in the valley. What this is saying is that, it's elevated. We've got to be careful. When we start getting out of the greens, we have got to do everything we can to prevent any fires from starting, because what this is saying is that a couple of the elements are there for the fire danger to be a problem. And we've seen that. You think of the fire we saw yesterday in Glenn County, right? The winds were strong. Temperatures really weren't that bad, but it was low humidity. So when you have high winds and a low humidity, that was enough to create a problem. Now, firefighters were able to get a handle on it. There was, unfortunately, for a brief period of time, a mandatory evacuation due to that fire. So yes, and this is what our fire weather risk looked like yesterday. So again, we can't let our guard down. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image here, and we take a look at the last 12 hours. You can see there's clouds up to the north. That's the storm system. So we have a series of storms like this that they're staying to our north, but they're sliding to our north and east, and that gives us not only those cooler temperatures, but also the gusty winds I've been talking about. So when we look at futurecasts, at least for today, yeah, plenty of sunshine. Even the coast seeing that those sunny skies. But it looks like some fog, low clouds will kind of make their way back later on this afternoon and evening for places like Eureka, and then eventually Crescent City getting in on some of the low clouds and fog later tonight and most likely lasting into tomorrow morning. And by the way, maybe some clouds later on this afternoon and evening for some of the higher elevations. But today, it's going to be warmer. Now, I've got upper 80s for your daytime highs. Could some of us touch 90 degrees? It's certainly not out of the question here, but I do expect temperatures to generally stay in the upper 80s for those daytime highs. There you can see, of course, for the mountains, we are looking at temperatures mainly in the 70s. There, of course, we can see about 72 degrees for Mount Shasta City. We're at about 73 degrees for Susanville, and upper 50s to low 60s for the coast. All right, let's go and take a look at your 7-day outlook region by region. We start with the valley. It's going to peak today. Temperatures leveling out in the mid 80s for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then we see a nice dip in our temperatures to start off the weekend in the upper 70s, but mid to upper 80s by Sunday and your Memorial Day. And for the coast, we've got temperatures just kind of leveling out in the upper 50s. The normal high for this time of the year on the coast is about 60. So kind of status quo really for the coast. Inland Weaverville, this is where we're going to see more of those variances in those temperatures day by day, that roller coaster ride, if you will, those temperatures going up and down. That's also the case for Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and for the Eastern Mountains. As we can see, those temperatures are going to be going up and down, then back up again, then back down, then back up, right? So it looks like we are going to see some nice cooler temperatures for Wednesday, Thursday, kind of bumping back up on Friday, and then to start off the weekend, those temperatures in the upper 60s. Taking a look at some of those cameras out there this morning, you can kind of get an idea of what you're looking at as you're heading out the door. Looks like Lake Oroville, North Forebay. Look at, unfortunately, the camera is not in motion. Well, there we go. You can kind of see the waves kind of rippling a little bit in a bit of that breeze that we do have out there, out over the lake. Otherwise, you've got the clear skies out there. Looks like we are seeing more traffic this morning. A lot of work trucks getting out there ready to get some work done, and looks like a lot of yard work. I wonder if they're like a fleet just heading out to go on their different jobs out there. But that's what it looks like on Main Street in Chico. There's Highway 99 at Neal Road. And yeah, that camera again kind of blown a little bit in that breeze that we are seeing out there this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Sundial Bridge. This is actually Sundial Bridge Drive exit on Highway 44, and we've got those clear skies out there as well. I want to remind you there is a free Weather NorCal app. You can download it for free in the App Store or in Google Play Store on your Android, and everything I have to offer on Weather NorCal is right there on your phone. And you know, if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, know that if you're getting ready for the day, you can watch and have Coffee with Krueger and really the 24-hour channel streaming going in the background on your big TV, on your regular TV. Sure, I'm not on cable and I'm not on the airwaves, but if you have a smart TV, starting off with YouTube, if you have a smart TV with YouTube, you can just go to the YouTube channel, Weather NorCal, and you can not only put the streaming channel on, but you can also watch my latest morning forecast, which usually uploads between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning. So be sure to check that out if you want to get a look at that. I also offer what's called a quick cast, and that's in about a minute. It'll give you the weather that you need to get you out the door for that day. So check that out on the streaming channel. I think you'll really find it useful. So if you have a Fire Stick, there's a free app on there, and if you have Roku, there's a free app. Just search for Weather NorCal in those app stores, and you can download that app for free, and you're watching the 24-hour streaming channel right there. And starting at 7 a.m., now keep in mind, I'd have to break the connection, unfortunately, but then I put the connection back on. So if you have the streaming channel on before Coffee with Krueger comes on, no need to worry. All you have to do is just give it a 30 seconds or so, and then you just push play again, and you will be good to go. All right, let's see how everybody's doing out there this morning, and it looks like we've got a lot of our regulars out there this morning. We've got Elaine saying good morning and enjoy your cup of coffee. We've got Curtis Brown. Curtis is saying, sure, we could do without these gusty winds. We've had several fires already. And this is something I was pointing out earlier, is that, the fire conditions are not 100% prime right now. The fuels, yes, they're getting drier day by day because of these gusty winds, but we're seeing the winds. This is the key factor, and I want to mention this because over the last 2 years, we never really had a lot of big wind events. And yes, we saw some big fires last year in the last few years, but we didn't quite have as many get out of control as we normally would if we had those gusty winds. So hopefully this trend that we're seeing here over the last few weeks with these gusty winds at times is not going to be what we see throughout the summer, because honestly, when we see those winds pick up, that's when I start getting the most concerned. And if these winds continue over the next month or two, that's when we've got to start being a little more concerned about that. So we can only hope that this trend for these gusty winds isn't going to be something that lasts forever. So yes, Curtis, you got a good point. We could do without those. Shelley saying, what a great temp for Weaverville today, 79 degrees. Yeah, I mean, I've always said for me, the perfect temperature is 72 and sunny. I love it. But when you start getting into the 90s, all right. So yeah, very nice in Weaverville. Good morning to Casey in Shingletown, and Jeff Johnson saying good morning, and Pam Georgia Carver. Facebook, I get the coffee notification. As I am sipping on my coffee as well. All right, well, thank you all so much for, kind of chiming in this morning. Let's get to your deeper dive forecast now, as we'll kind of take a little bit more in depth. And that's what I like to do with that first part of Coffee with Krueger. For those of you who just want to kind of a quick forecast to kind of get you out the door, take a look at what's going on right now and what we can expect for the day. Well, we've done that. Now we're just going to take a closer look at the forecast and give you an idea of what to expect not only today, but as we go to the extended outlook as well. But first, before we get to all of that, I need to mention our sponsor, because Coffee with Krueger is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino, where you enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, so here's what it looks like out there right now. We're at 66 degrees for Redding, 65 in Red Bluff. And again, the winds are blowing a little bit out there this morning. Not what it was yesterday, but it's a little breezy in some spots here. And even though it will be breezy today, it's not going to be as windy as it was yesterday. All right, so you can see about 34 degrees for Alturas, 41 for Susanville, and Chester about 39 degrees. And we've got those mid to upper 40s for most of us along the coast. All right, so our headlines, gusty winds at times with the elevated fire danger. And that's going to continue off and on through this week. But I do expect highs, even though after today we see temperatures drop. The normal high is about 83, 84 degrees. And I think we're going to be right around there or just above that as we go into your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But it's getting warmer by Memorial Day. And by the way, I am aware of the fact that I think through most of the day I was saying it was going to be Labor Day on Monday. So yeah, it's Memorial Day. So there you go. So getting warmer for your Memorial Day and a possibility for some Sierra showers and thunderstorms. Probably the best chances will be on Thursday, and we'll see that here on Futurecast here in a second. But right now, the winds aren't that bad. They're the strongest down to the south out towards Willows, but generally between 5 and 10 miles per hour in the valley. And of course, we're looking at those weaker winds. That's false. That's not the right data. Don't pay attention to that. But we got the weaker winds here for many of the higher elevations. And as far as the forecast is concerned for today, yes, we're talking about upwards of around 20 mile an hour gusts. Still the same situation along the coast as well. You go into your Wednesday morning, the winds aren't that bad. Still a little breezy in some spots here for the valley, but they'll pick up again tomorrow. And I think it's underdoing it here. I think we can see 20 to even 30 mile an hour gusts for your Wednesday. Also notice the gusty winds we have off in the eastern mountains as well, and not to mention along the coast. So gusty pretty much across the board for many of us on your your Wednesday. Then we go into your Thursday, you see how the winds are not quite as strong, although still, pretty gusty even still along the coast. But overall, the winds aren't going to be quite as strong for your Thursday. So what does that mean for our fire weather risk? Well, let's take a look at, remember I was talking about this. It's a combination of the heat, how hot is it outside, how dry is it outside, and what are the winds doing? How strong are they? All right, so we saw the winds. They're going to be strongest tomorrow, but still breezy today and still even breezy for your Thursday. So there you can see along the coast. There you can see the valley. Now, when we're in these yellows, what we've learned here over the last few weeks is even when we're just barely in that low to moderate category, if a fire starts and the winds are gusty, they're going to spread, but not as rapidly if we had the drier fuels. But see, the thing is, each day we see these strong north winds, the more and more we are just sucking out that moisture from the vegetation and from the ground, okay? So we're going to start seeing these conditions just get drier and drier out there. So what we got to do is see these winds stop, and that'll give us a little bit more relief here. But as we go into your Wednesday, as I mentioned, remember the winds are getting a little bit stronger, but it's getting cooler. And the humidity, yes, it'll be low, but I mean, it's getting just a little bit deeper with those yellows, so we're kind of getting more within that moderate range here for your Wednesday. Now, as we take you into your Thursday, again, we noticed the winds are dying down a little bit, so we're not seeing as much in the way of yellow there. So we're kind of in that upper low category for the valley. And again, a lot of the greens in the higher elevations because, we still have a lot of that moisture up there and the winds haven't been as strong there. So as this system passes to our south and to our north and east, gusty winds, a bit of a break on Thursday, and then we see more winds coming in for your Friday and possibly even your Saturday. See how this is kind of pushing through? So when we see these inside sliders move in this direction, this is classic. When we see these storms move in that direction, that's when we see those gusty winds as a result. But it's doing another thing. It's suppressing the heat. So as a result, our temperatures aren't as warm. So that's through Saturday. Then as we go into Sunday, Monday, Memorial Day, we start to see this ridge of high pressure build in. Now remember yesterday, this ridge was building on top of us. But it looks like as this area of low pressure kind of digs to the south, it's going to be a little bit more to the east than anticipated. So yes, it's still going to be warmer, upper 80s, maybe some 90s in there, but it's not going to be as warm as we initially thought. So that certainly is good news. And it looks like if we were to extend this into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, we would see this kind of pushing up and over that ridge of high pressure. So what that will do is again squash that heat again. So we see a spike in our temperatures most likely Memorial Day and next Tuesday, and then that heat will start getting suppressed again. All right, so when we look at the temperature outlook, there you can see we're getting in that near normal category. So it's not going to warm up a whole lot. No major heat waves in store for us. So there you can see that next storm system, that inside slider. This is what's going to give us those winds, especially as we do go into tomorrow afternoon. All right, let's take a look at Futurecast. A couple of things we'll point out. We go into this afternoon, we may see some of that marine layer make its way back to parts of central Humboldt County, but looks like mainly sunny skies here for Del Norte County and southern Humboldt County. There may be some afternoon clouds developing in some of the northern mountains, but overall, it's of course going to be dry and sunny skies elsewhere. Overnight tonight to tomorrow morning, we see that fog return. It's going to have a hard time burning off for central Humboldt County, but it may burn off for places like Del Norte County. So we may be sucked in with those overcast skies through a good portion of the day tomorrow for places like Eureka, all right, and McKinleyville, for example, right, Trinidad. But you can see here as we go into tomorrow afternoon, we're just seeing a few clouds developing for some of the mountains again, but still looking at dry conditions. Now going into your Thursday morning, once again, we're seeing that fog, and even a lot of the inland valleys making some of that fog as well, but not as much out towards Del Norte County. Thursday afternoon, yeah, you see some of these showers, maybe some thunderstorms popping up in the Sierra. So Thursday will be the best chance for some of that activity. We're still seeing some of those low clouds kind of hovering along the coast here for places like Eureka. And then looking at the long range. Looks like by Saturday, there may quite possibly, that storm system I was talking about, that inside slider, it may be far enough south that it could bring maybe a few showers out towards Modoc County. Not guaranteed, but don't be surprised if on Saturday you see a stray sprinkle or a light shower. Now, that's also contributing to the significantly cooler weather that we will see on Saturday, not to mention some of that cloud cover. But as that moves on out, then we see this system dive down to the south. High pressure begins to build in as we go into Monday, Tuesday of next week with those warmer temperatures. But looking at the precipitation outlook, we're mainly in the drier category, but it's in the lower end, right? But bottom line, I'm just not seeing much in the way of rain over the next week or so. So looking at the wave heights, this is what it looks like for today. There still is a small craft advisory today, but as we go into tomorrow, it looks like those waves are going to kind of get a little bit weaker. They won't be quite as high, but still kind of in that moderate range, right? So you can see those winds from the north at about 15 to 25 knots. There's that small craft advisory here throughout the afternoon. All right, so for today, here's your detailed Trinity County neighborhood forecast. And there you can see those temperatures along the Highway 299 corridor, about 80 degrees, give or take. That's also the case as you head up towards Highway 3. Let's take you south. Out towards Ruth, about 77. Mad River, about 69. 79 for your daytime high in Hayfork. And for southern Humboldt County, your North Coast neighborhood forecast, temperatures mainly in the 70s for the inland areas, upper 60s for Redcrest and Honeydew, about 68. Ferndale, about 57, 58 degrees for Rio Dell. Fortuna, about 59 degrees. And there it is in Fortuna. And much like that of the coast, you're talking upper 50s, maybe a slight increase into those low 60s as we go into next week. Temperatures for Trinidad, 62, 58 degrees for Eureka. McKinleyville, you'll top out at about 60. But you start heading inland, we're going to be kind of right around that 80 degree mark. Now you see how temperatures today spike. They go down, then back up, then back down, and then back up again for Sunday into your Memorial Day. But when we take a look at the coast, look at Crescent City, upper 50s to right around 60. That's normal for this time of the year, so it's pretty much status quo. 70s for Smith River, though, 71 for Gas Key, and there you can see Oric, about 60 degrees. How about your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast? Again, much like that of the valley, the inland areas, and of course the mountains, up and down with those temperatures throughout the next 7 days. That's also the case for Scott Valley. Today you'll top out at 71 for Greenview, Etna, and Callahan. Maybe just a tad cooler in Fort Jones with 68 degrees. How about Weed? About 69 degrees. You can see Tule Lake, 67. So again, some of those higher elevations in northeast and eastern Siskiyou County, a bit cooler. Some of us could touch 70 degrees for parts of Modoc County here today. Alturas about 69 and 67 degrees for Aden. For the eastern mountains, we're talking 68 degrees for Bieber. Montgomery Creek about 78. And big variances here. It's the eastern mountains where we have a lot of different microclimates and a lot of different elevations. High, mid, low, right? So for example, you go to Shingletown, that's at 3,500 feet. You're sitting at 74 degrees, but now you're getting up over 4,000 feet in Viola, and it's going to be cooler as a result. It's 68, 79 degrees out towards Paynes Creek. We take you to Lake Almanor, Lassen Park, where we've got 57 degrees for Summit Lake. Looks like the Lake Almanor Peninsula, about 71 degrees. Here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast to the south with Paradise, a high of 79 degrees today, and you can see the temperature is kind of going back down again before we go back up towards the end of the weekend and early next week. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor, mainly in the upper 80s for your daytime highs. If some of us touch 90 degrees for a brief moment in time today, I wouldn't be surprised, but for the most part, we're talking mainly upper 80s for your daytime highs. Look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. There you can see temperatures dropping back down into the mid 80s by Wednesday, Thursday, and your Friday. Looks like about 80 degrees as we take you into your Saturday, upper 70s, right? And then it looks like mid to upper 80s here for your Sunday and for your Monday. All right, folks, that's going to pretty much do it here. We take a look at some of your cameras as we kind of get you through the rest of the morning. This is looking out at Trinidad, just north of Trinidad at Elk Country. Looks like we are seeing a little bit of low cloud cover trying to move into that area. So we're going to leave you with these cameras. I want to thank you for joining us this morning on Coffee with Krueger. Have yourselves a great Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Bye.